Hi everyone, and welcome back to the LMC Auto channel. I had some free time today, so I thought we would get started on the 12-volt Jeep. Like any other paint project I do, the first thing that I want to do is take off everything that doesn't need to be there. Hey, I'm lazy. If I don't have to tape things off, I won't. I'd rather take them out of the picture. I think it makes for a cleaner paint job and less waste of tape. Just takes a little effort. So what I'm going to be doing before I do anything else is I'm going to be taking off all this chrome stuff, the headlights, grill, bumper insert, fog lights, this chrome piece, the light bar, seats, and the tail lights and this bumper insert, as well as dropping down the charge port here. That's going to make my life a lot easier, make it easier to sand, easier to paint. That's where we're going to start. So I'm going to shut you guys down and get all that off, and I'll turn the camera back on when I'm ready for the next step. Alright guys, now we have everything off that is going to come off in order to prep this for paint. What I did was, everything was only held on by Phillips head screws, so I took everything off, set it aside, and then I went over the whole thing with just some soap and water, just to clean off any dirt that might still be left in there from adventures outside, and then sprayed it off with a blow nozzle. What I'm going to do now is go over every piece that I want to paint with 400 grit dry. There are many ways to sand it. I'm not going to go into that. Everybody's got their own personal preference. What I'm going to do is use 400 on a DA with an interface pad. It's a 3M interface pad. I am using Astro Pneumatic Tools DA 6-inch. Astro is not a sponsor of the video. I really like their tools. Any spot that I cannot get with the DA, I'm going to be using red Scotch-Brite. You got to make sure you really get in there. I already started doing some of this hood. As you can see, nice and dull, nice and sanded, no shiny spots. That's what you're looking for. We're going to be applying an adhesion promoter to this also, but like any other paint project, the sanding is the most important part. Preparation, I should say. In case you don't know, there was a hole in this hood, so I did kind of a makeshift repair. What I did was there was a hole and it spidered out in cracks, so I V'd out all the cracks just with a steel burr bit, both sides, V'd them out, sanded it down with 180, front and back. Then I used a steel mesh on the back that I actually used my heat gun with to impregnate the steel mesh into the plastic. After that, I used short strand fiberglass filler, both sides, to create a nice strong bond between the two. Once that dried, I sanded it back. Then I used just some regular body filler and polyester fine filler, feathered it out. It's good enough for this project. So I'm going to go ahead and get started sanding this down. When it's all sanded and we're ready to start doing the adhesion promoter and taping off, I should say, I will cut you guys back on and show you the progress. Alright. Alright everybody, I've got the truck all sanded down, blew it off, made sure it was nice and clean. Then I went ahead and taped off everything, made sure it's nice and ready to go. And then after it was all taped off, I went ahead and cleaned it again and then wiped it down with wax and grease remover. I did that to all the separate parts over there I'm going to be painting, along with the car. Clean, clean, clean. You got to make sure it's clean. We're going to treat this the same way we would an automotive paint job. So what I'm going to do now is take you over and show you some of the stuff I'm going to be using. First off, we're going to be using Tamco Top Dog Adhesion Promoter. Anytime you're painting plastic or any substrate, personally, fiberglass, basically anything that isn't steel, I use Adhesion Promoter. You got to make sure you sand that really well and use an Adhesion Promoter for everything to stick. So after the Adhesion Promoter, we're going to be using Tamco Primer. I have never personally used this product. It'll be a first time for me, so we'll see how it goes. I'm actually going to be using this primer as a sealer. I bought this because the nice part about this primer is that once you have it mixed in the 4:1 ratio, if you add 10% reducer, it acts like a sealer. So after the sealer, I am going to be using silver base, and I only use Chromax paint. For what I can get around here, this is the best paint I can get, and that's what I use. So we'll be using silver base coat, silver metallic base coat, with medium temp base maker. And then after that's dry, we're going to be using the intercoat clear and mixing all of our flakes and pearls, whatever we decide to use, into the intercoat clear. Now I will be using all of these, probably most of these products from Didspade. I have a wholesale account with them and I really like their products. I've used them before. My daughter really likes this one, so I think this one is going to be the main one we're going to use. It's a really nice flake. It's a big flake, so it should give a lot of pop. This one's called Prom Night Pink, and it's a 0.015 flake. I'm going to be mixing some of this one in. This is a 0.008 flake. It's a little finer. It has a little more color in it, so I think it'll give a real nice effect. I have the purple. I don't know if I'm going to use it, but we'll see once we get into it. And then maybe we'll use some pearls. Not sure yet. For the candies on this, I went to Grant 7 and picked up their magenta and their sour grape. No fade candy concentrates. Now this is highly concentrated. Each 8-ounce can will do a gallon of clear. What I'm just going to do is add it till I get to the color I like, and we're going to roll with it that way. Again, I've never used the Grant 7, but we're going to try it out. As far as clear coat goes, I use Nason clear. This 496 is not the one I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using the 497. I just put this out here just to show you that I'd be using Nason clear. This jug is a little bit of my home brew. Not really moonshine, but it's a little concoction I've made, and when we get to the point that we're going to use it, I will explain more in detail. As far as other stuff that I use, this is the wax and grease remover. Glass cleaner, I wipe it down with the glass cleaner. It works really, really well. We have 3M, various sizes of tape. And for my guns, I will be using the ANI F160 silver. This is a really nice gun. The only thing with it is you need, it runs at a higher pressure than I'm used to. It's not an HVLP, this is what they call an HPS gun. So it likes to be run around 39-40 PSI. It takes a little bit to get used to, but you can get a great finish with it. Spray gun filters, adjustable regulator from ANI. These regulators are great. I've had no problem with them. And then I have my nozzles. So this gun, as you can see, runs a 1.3 nozzle, needle nozzle combo. I also have a 1.9 and a 2.5. I'll be running the 2.5 when I put the metallics down. So that's about it for now. Let me get set up and we will start spraying Adhesion Promoter and going from there. Okay, thank you. Okay, so we're going to get ready to spray the Adhesion Promoter. This Adhesion Promoter is ready to spray out of the bottle, and it wants 2 tack coats with a 5-minute flash between coats. Next step here, we're going to get the tack rag out. Let it sit for a minute. And then just go over the vehicle. This is going to pick up any dust or loose debris that's still in there from all the cleaning, sanding, and everything else. If you notice, I'm not pressing all too hard. I don't want any of the stuff that makes this tacky to really run off and sit on this. I just want it to grab the dust. And it's always a good idea to tack rag off your hose. Put that to the side. All right, here we go. Okay, now we're going to wait 5 minutes, throw a second coat on, and I'll be back when we shoot the sealer. Alright guys, so I've gone ahead and got the sealer down on. Got the sealer on the whole truck, as well as all the parts that are going to be painted. And I'd have to say, I'm pretty impressed with that Tamco sealer. It laid down pretty nice. Went on nice and smooth. And for the application I'm doing, the color's right on. So now that we got the sealer on, we're going to start laying some base. And for the Chromax, this is going to mix 1:1. Now typically, for a paint job like this with flakes and candies and everything, you would want to get a silver that's got the most metallic in it, so really pop over with the candy. Now this silver is just a silver I have kicking around from jobs I've done, so we're going to use it. I mean, it's not a bad silver, it's just not, you know, House of Colors Orion silver or anything like that, but it's got some good shimmer to it, so we're going to use it. Like I said, this mix is 1:1. You know, you're going to want to take your time laying your base down, because this is the foundation for the whole paint job. Put your bench time in, really mix it up. Make sure everything's mixed in real nice. I'm going to be laying down 3 coats of this silver. First coat being just a quick tack coat, and then we'll do 2 coats of medium wet. Like I said, the silver's not bad. We're going to roll with it. Alright, let me get these sprayed, and I'll turn you guys back on and see what it looks like. Okay everybody, we now have the silver base coat down. I've got 3 coats of silver base. It's been, well, let me back up a little bit. Between each coat of base, I allowed 15 minutes of flash time, and I gave it 3 coats. So now we're going to be ready to put the flake on. I have my intercoat clear mixed up. I'm not going to be filtering this, and I'm not going to be running a filter in the gun. And I did switch my needle nozzle combo out to a 2.5. You really want to make sure you mix this stuff up good. I'm going to do a little more of this, and then I'm going to add a little more of the Stupid Cupid, just for a little more added effect. Alright, I'm liking the way that's looking. So I'm going to go ahead and throw it in the gun, put a couple coats on. I'll cut you guys back on and show you the results. Alright. Alright everyone, so welcome back. In this little break, I have gone ahead and sprayed the truck with the metal flake. I think it came out pretty damn good. Not really sure if the camera is going to pick it up good or not, but it came out pretty rocking. It's going to be a real good base to shoot our candy over. So once I shot the metal flake, I gave that 3 coats of metal flake, and then I let that sit for about an hour, and then I went ahead and shot it with 3 coats of clear coat. The reason being is because after you shoot the metal flake, it's going to be rough, real rough, because we're using such a coarse metal flake. So by adding the clear coat on top of that, that's going to give us something to sand back and have a nice flat surface to paint our candy on. I think it came out real nice. So once again, just to recap, today we started off with a sanded and masked off car. We went ahead and sprayed our sealer. Once that was all set, we sprayed 3 coats of our silver metallic base coat. Once that was flashed off, we hit it with 3 coats of metal flake. And then once that was flashed off, 3 coats of clear. Now I'm going to let this sit probably a day and a half to really cure, and then I'm going to wet sand it with 600 grit, and then we'll start doing the candy and going from there. If you like what you see in the video, like, subscribe, thumbs up, hit that bell. I appreciate it. And if you like the pearls, well, the metal flake in this one, and the pearls, which we may or may not use, we'll see. Go to didspade.com, check them out. Pretty good stuff. I have a wholesale account with them, and shipping's reasonable. The shipping is great. Comes in anywhere from 2 to 3 days, no issue. And their product, in my opinion, is phenomenal. I don't have the whole line. I'm thinking next project I do, where I want to do something crazy, maybe a holographic or something. And then this will be the end of part 1 of this video. In part 2, we'll be using the Grant 7 candies. And you guys will get to find out what is in my mason jar. Once again, if you like the video, subscribe, like, hit the bell down below, and I'm probably going to leave a link in the description to where you can get all of the chemicals and stuff that I'm using. Alright, thanks for watching. Have a good one.